All right. Hello and welcome, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Let's Talk Fabulous show. I'm your host, Kim O'Neill, and I'm excited. I'm always excited, but I'm really excited for today's show too, because we're talking today about creativity and healing. And today's panelists all have their own unique spin on how they combine the two of those things together. And I absolutely know that it's going to be a light-filled message for you wherever you are in your journey. Let us know down in the chat what's showing up for you throughout the show, and let us know where you're joining us from. We love connecting with you. Let's talk. All right. Hello and welcome to all of today's panelists.
Hello.
Hello.
Great. Hi.
It is so good to be here with each of you. As I already said, this is going to be a fun conversation because each of you incorporate your creativity into what you do. And it has, of course, a healing component to it. And I really think this is going to speak to so many people because at some point or another, we are all on a spiritual, or not necessarily spiritual journey, but a healing journey, which to me personally always brings up spirituality on some level. But it's going to be fun to talk about how the creativity plays into that. So let's just real quickly go around and get to, I want each of you to share a little bit about who you are, what you do, and where are you located in the world. And we're going to start with Lisa to that direction.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Or I guess it's afternoon. I don't know where. It's afternoon for me. I'm Lisa Winston. I just recently moved to the Sacramento area from Texas about 6 months ago. I'm an intuitive artist. I'm an author, a speaker, 40-plus year professional vocalist and band leader, and a teacher. So I'm kind of a jack of all trades.
I love it. I love it. I'm so glad you're here, Lisa.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And Gary, tell everyone about who you are.
Great. Well, happy Easter, everyone, whatever you celebrate. I know Passover's coming up and Ramadan just finished or whatever. So blessings to everything you celebrate. And I'm an author, constellation facilitator, 26 years this year. And I just got authorized by the IRS to start a foundation. So I have some investments that I may be able to gift environmental organizations, and very busy making a positive mark of my legacy on the world before I depart.
That's great, Gary. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, Karen, tell everyone about you and where you're located.
Hello. So I'm currently in LA. I move around a lot. I'm an expressive arts therapist. So I am working with all the different art modalities: painting, moving, theater, writing, sound, anything creative that you can think of. We use it in sessions. And I am an artist myself. I've been moving always. So for me, it's just a very natural way to do life.
I love it. I love it. So glad that you're here, Karen. And Skip, last but not least, tell everyone about you and where you're located.
Hello, good to be here with everybody, and happy Easter. And I'm Skip Thomas, and I am in Arkansas, in the Ozark, north part of Arkansas. Actually sitting here in just over a week, we're going to be right in the very middle of the path of this big eclipse they're all talking about around the world. And yeah, so we're dead center in the path. It'll be about 1 o'clock, and they're in this little town of about called Mountain View, Arkansas. There's about 3,000 on the population sign, but word is there will be 100,000 people coming into town this weekend. Wow. Yeah, and they're coming from all over the world, and so there's events and everything. It's 4.5 minutes, of darkness. Right now they're predicting cloudy, but I'm a filmmaker. I've been a part of the Tour Love and Service Heroes, and working with Tamara and this whole family. I won't even call it a team. They are truly family, and it goes back, oh my gosh, since Chemo Buddies in the beginning, way before when we first started, before we started nonprofits with Tamara and the Chemo Buddies for Life and the many programs we put together, including the Tour of Love, which is we're excited about, and new things are about to happen. That's really going to be a wonderful next chapter, and really our second season on E360 TV, and also just bringing forth a lot of the creativity and love and healing to this community. So with this community and to the world. So thank you.
Glad to have you here, Skip, and thank you for mentioning the Tour of Love, because I know it's been a while since I've mentioned that. So yes, absolutely. Stay tuned for the Tour of Love for sure. So let's dive into this conversation, and I'm going to leave it somewhat broad, but I want to first ask everyone here, how does creativity and healing go together for you? I don't want to assume that this is an obvious answer, because for some, it may not, and may be completely new. So how does creativity and healing go together for you? And I'm going to jump. Yeah, Gary, you're in the hot seat.
Well, I started out before I was a constellation facilitator in massage. I moved to LA to become a stand-up comic. It didn't kind of work out, but it helped me with public speaking. And while I was doing massage, I was getting all these messages. They need to talk about this. This is guilt on their shoulder. This is anger in their hip. And I said, okay, is there anything you're angry about? So I was guided by the same guidance I get being a constellation facilitator to connect the psychological somatic bridge, so to speak. Then I realized, plus I had done 40 years of my own healing work. So I was there, okay, I didn't know I was on this path, and it kind of revealed itself to me. So the thing about creativity is, like, whatever guides us, whether it's, I'm an aspiring artist, Lisa could teach me a lot, which I'm going to contact her with, but it's the newness. So a lot of people say, what do you do? Like with constellations, I say, I birth consciousness. There's something we're unconscious of. All of a sudden we're more conscious, and it's new, and it's a different way to look at your family system, your trauma, your pain, which is liberating in and of itself. And what's better, we can leave the past behind and take our creative forces in the present and move it to the future.
Oh, Gary, thank you. That's so excellent. Spot on. Newness. Absolutely. Yes. I love it. Okay. Lisa, Heath mentioned your name, so we're going to jump right over to you now, put you in the hot seat.
Oh, gosh. I was a closet artist my entire life because, I always heard the thing from my parents, you can't make money doing what you love. There's so many stigmas around,
I know.
Music and art and all that kind of stuff. So me, and I really had a lot of trouble with visibility. And, I was always just pulling myself back and not wanting to be seen. And then I lost my house to wildfire in 2007, had breast cancer, 2019, Lyme disease. So anyway, I felt like the universe was calling me because I had just started really exploring spirituality. I was in a 15-year toxic relationship, and, a lot of things happened, drama, and I prayed a lot. So I started experiencing more spirituality and more connection to myself personally. And for me, when I started really dabbling in the music again, then I became a singer for 40 years. I still kind of was a closet artist, but something else was calling me. And it's funny because it's so healing when you connect with source, when you find what really lights you up. I mean, creativity elevates your life. It elevates everything. And, inspiration brings opportunities and possibilities and all kinds of things to the forefront when you start, you get out of stuffy adult syndrome and trying to control everything, right? And you allow yourself to free flow. And so for me personally, getting out of my own way was one of the biggest things for me in the healing journey with creativity. And that's why it's great for everybody, because everybody needs to get out of their own way. Everybody has this monkey mind going on, and just being still. And, you can even just play in the dirt, garden, cook, whatever. And that's creativity too. We're creative at the core.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's really important in the healing journey.
Okay, Lisa, thank you for sharing all of that. And I know it's early in the show, but we're going to give getting out of stuffy adult syndrome, which I think we can all fall into. We're going to give it one of these. That was fabulous. Thank you for that, Lisa. Okay, Karen, I'm going to hop over to you and put you in the hot seat. And you know all about creativity too. Tell us how creativity and healing come together.
Yeah, I mean, for me in my life, I think it really started when I was in high school. And I don't know if I was depressed or just going through typical adolescent stuff, but I really needed a space where I could express myself and where I could come into connection with me, without any fears of judgments or, the outside experience coming into my world. I just wanted to feel me. So luckily I had an amazing art teacher, Miss Dupuy, who her studio was always open to me. I would skip class and go in her studio or during lunch or whatever. And I would just, paint or work on anything I wanted to work on. And it was a place where I could really feel free. And I keep that sentiment with me today. It's my space and I can do whatever I want to do here and it's mine. So for me, that in itself is very healing.
That's awesome. That's freedom. That's the word that shines through what you said. Oh, I love that. Love that. Love that. Okay. And we are going to hop on over to Skip. Skip, I'm putting you in the mush pot. What are your thoughts about creativity and healing?
Well, this is probably my favorite of all favorite subjects there is, ever since I was a kid. And, it's, so much of what I do. And I, we talk about creativity for healing. And really for me, it's survival. So somebody asked me, about this and projects. And I said, look, if I'm not creative and doing something creating, I die. I mean, it's survival. It's my life depends on creativity. I write music, I produce music, I do films, I do, but the things that everybody said, and I don't want to really duplicate them, but it is a connection thing. It is a source of inspiration. And I've got a list. I've sent some things. We can get into that later of things we can do. But the bottom line of creativity is, it's different for everybody, but it's a self-expression. And whatever that was, as all grown-ups in this new world of learning and knowledge and everything, if you remember when you were a kid, which that's still inside you, is, for me, and I don't know for others, but if you go back, every kid is an artist. And you get that little box sometimes it was a big box if you were really lucky, of crayons, and they were all pointed and sharp, and you got a blank piece of paper, and you could not wait to draw and create something with that kid's imagination. And everything to me is like that when you're, people that are into gardening or music or just putting beautiful art or seeing art, experiencing art. There's a lot of studies that art, just seeing it, let alone creating it, changes your vibration to a higher consciousness, a higher frequency. So to me, creating is not only healing, but it's a matter of survival for me.
I love that. It kind of goes back to the newness and the freedom and getting out of stuffy adult syndrome. It's a way to unleash ourselves so we can keep living. That's what I'm getting. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I'm feeling called to jump to, Lisa shared a really powerful video with us, and I'm feeling called to jump to that. You ready, Lisa?
Ready.
Okay. We're gonna get to everyone's stories, but I want to let's hear from Lisa, and then we'll talk some more. We'll be right back.
Back in 2019, I almost died from neurological Lyme disease and 12 co-infections. And when it hit, I was very angry because I had been doing amazing things in my life and I thought I was going to stay healthy for a long time. So I thought that God, the divine universe, had totally left me. And more importantly, I was terrified that I was going to die. So in that moment, I decided to fight for my life. And so I was going to do everything in my power to heal, if possible. And one of the things I started doing was art therapy, which I didn't know was therapy at the time. I started painting. It's very dark, very messy. There I am, screaming, blood coming out. And that is the power of creativity. Whether it's music, art, whatever it is, when you can express your deepest feelings, your deepest emotions, the ones that you have no words for, the ones that you don't understand, it's a soul expression. That's when true healing really starts. And that was the beginning of my healing journey.
Lisa, That is such a powerful video. You said so much in such a 1 minute time frame. Thank you for that. Would you like to elaborate?
Yeah, I just going back to even what Skip said and everybody else. First I had the wildfire, lost my house in the wildfire, and then I had breast cancer. So I was just starting my spiritual journey then, and I had done a little bit of painting, but with my house, I lost everything I had ever painted or made, copper etchings and all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
I moved through that. But then the universe kept giving me the big smackdown, right? There wasn't something I was listening to, so clearly I got the smackdown. So when I had neural disease, it was a whole different ball game because I literally couldn't do anything for a year. I couldn't see to drive. I thought I was going to die. I was extremely ill. And so what I started doing was realizing that I had these words, like I was really angry. I was enraged at God because there I was doing all these things right, I thought, and then all of a sudden, here I am and I can't do anything. And I felt like God had left me. So I decided in that moment that if I was going to live, if possible, like I had said in the video, that I was going to do everything in my power. So I got out my paint and I started expressing the rage. And I just went crazy with colors because I was so angry. So it was a lot of blacks and a lot of reds and stuff. And then I also want to share, because Skip will like this, I would even do stuff like run around the house dancing and singing to Jason Mraz because, it's happy stuff. And so literally I did everything I could in my power to raise my vibrations through really music and art, which was, like Skip said, also my survival. Without that, I probably would not have made it through. And I had a whole different perspective at the end of all of it.
You were your own hero.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that, that there wasn't other help. I do believe that there's more going on, but you could have chosen to not do any of that. Right. And simply just sit in it.
Right. Yeah. No, I was desperate to live. I just started my speaking career and everything else. And I was going to be darned that I was, God was going to take me out without a fight.
Yes.
I hear you. Yes. Okay, Karen, I have to throw it over to you. Karen, share some of your thoughts on that physical expression and what are your thoughts about what Lisa was talking about?
I mean, what both Skip and Lisa, what you talked about, this connection between art and survival, it's so, we don't think about it, but when everything else gets stripped away and we're left with nothing, I mean, wow, how powerful is that we want to create, we want to wake up our bodies. Lisa, you want to run around the house, dancing to Jason Mraz or waking up your body. We want to put what's inside of us out there so that it's not so internalized anymore. And I think that that's also such a powerful art, is that it stops becoming us, our identity or the sickness or the trauma or whatever, and we're able to get it out and we can see it outside, and then we can play with it and we can dance with it in different ways. So I think that's also just such a powerful aspect. It's not us. We can bring it over here and communicate with it.
Okay, that identity factor. I love that. Okay, so Karen, so I have to ask you, and all of our panelists today work with people in different forms, but Karen, as an expressive arts therapist, do you ever come across any clients who are reluctant to express themselves physically, to do something new? Say a little bit more about that. How do you assist them in starting something new, trying something new?
Absolutely. And first of all, I want to say almost more than half of my clients say, "Ooh, artist? I'm not an artist. I can't do that," right? So if you're watching this show, you're so not alone. And so what I found is that really by engaging, I keep using my hands, by engaging our senses, first of all, slowing down, right? I use a lot of mindfulness in my session. So first slowing down the body, then we can start to receive the impulses around us. We can receive the sounds. We can receive, the feeling of the wind on my skin. We can receive the smell coming from the flowers. So first of all, just slowing down. and then engaging our senses so that we have something to bounce off of. We can get inspired in that way. And I think that's the biggest avenue into being creative, or what I might like to say instead of creative is receptive. Let's just receive all the stimulation that's around us and see how that makes us want to respond to it. So it's just receiving, responding.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And I'm hearing creating a new identity of being able to see themselves as a creative person as they shift the mindset and things like that. Yeah. Thank you for that. Gary, we're going to hop on over to you because
sure.
You bring a lot of light into people's perspective of how things are coming together and playing out.
Yes. Yeah.
Say a little bit more about that.
Yeah, well, everything is creative. I think everything is expression, even non-expression is expression. So I think it's really important for us to communicate through any form. When I was invited to do my first art show, which actually was like March 15, 2021, and I actually won first place. It was called Target Practice, and I had an American flag with a police gun and a hat, a BB gun and a hat, pointing at 4 people, silhouettes of people of color, marked Target Practice. Now, this was 3 weeks before George Floyd. I said, what was I tapped into? And I put whites only on the flag. So whites only get to kill people of color. And then I Googled all the unsolved Black murders by police. It was 4 pages on Google of unsolved racial killings. And the title of the whole show, I wasn't the only artist, but was The Power of Words. And I hit it on the head, my very first art show. And I consider my art primitive, where I could do silhouettes and stuff. I'm just learning how to do faces and portraits now. But it just gave me a kick in the butt to continue with my art. I like to upset people and get them thinking.
I can tell you're not afraid to kind of stretch those boundaries.
Exactly. And that's what I love about creativity. I want to reach past what people's boundaries are. Okay,
let's bring in the family and other humans aspect of it, because you help people a lot with that. So, that can be something that people maybe see as a fixed kind of rigid thing, right? My family is my family. This is who they are. Share how do you?
Well, myself, I identified as a severely battered child by both parents, and I identified myself as a traumatized victim child. But now looking back, of course, I have 50 years to look back on it rather than be the angry, abused child. I said, wow, my father survived World War II. He was on Omaha Beach. He killed Nazis. I wouldn't be here if he wasn't the A-list killer of Nazis, and he acted out his PTSD on me. Sure, at the time, I was really angry being a battered child, but now when I can step back and see post-depression attitudes, everything that was going on in the world, I have much more compassion for them, because what would I do in that case? And one of my key phrases, I do have a meme somewhere, I got to post it again, is no one asks for what life gives them. Everyone is in reaction to what life gave them that they didn't expect. So we have to creatively find a way out of the misery or victimization that was handed to us without us asking for it. And that's where our personal empowerment comes from. What's a creative way for me to get around the negative forces in my family system, to have compassion for their suffering, which was projected onto me at a very young age?
Thank you for bringing up the empowerment aspect, because when we're feeling wounded, we can have a tendency to feel like things are hopeless. We don't have power.
Poor me. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so Gary has been with us on this show a few times, and so grateful to have him back. So if you were with us about a month ago, he was on the Overcoming Heartbreak episode, and so just want to quickly reference that in case anybody is healing from heartbreak. But in that episode, Gary also shared another little exercise, a tip that you can also do, and I think it's perfect for the show. Sure. So we're going to share that video again, and we'll be right back.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Gary Stuart with the Constellation Healing Institute. I'm so thrilled to be talking with Kim O'Neill on a panel on overcoming heartbreak. You know, it's very simple. We'll talk at length on the show, but if you honor what happened in the past, the level of grief you have is the amount of love you had for the person who departed. It could be a parent, a partner. I know myself from doing constellations for 26 years. So you bow and honor what was in your past and hold them in your heart with unconditional love. and their fate to die before you. And then you turn around to your future with the past behind you so you can stand in the present firmly and face your future. It's not to diminish anything that happened before, it's to include it and move forward. My name's Gary Stewart, and I look forward to the panel.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
Gary, do you want to, is there anything actually you'd like to say about that exercise?
Yeah. Well, one of the biggest thing is, can we let the past go? So let's say if Lisa just wallowed in, oh, I had health issues, I almost died, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. That's true. But if we repeat that story over again, is it strengthening us or weakening us? We need our chi to survive and move forward. I often call jokingly the life force itself is a green snake in green grass. There's an art image I have to paint. But does the snake ever look forward? We don't see the life force, but we are the life force. And we're always moving forward. And do we sure, we can look back, but does that stop us from moving forward the way we want to go? So I think the goal of creativity is to keep it moving forward. Do new art. You know, I mean, Van Gogh only had one ear to cut off. He only had one other chance. Now, do you think he would have cut off his ear if he knew his paintings, the irises, would sell for hundreds of millions of dollars in the future? But yet he was suffering with depression in the past. And look at the beauty he created that's lasted centuries, that's worth hundreds of millions of dollars, when he was just a poor,
Wow.
just poverty stricken. Look at the time and space, how the values changed over time and space. Now he's celebrated as one of the biggest artists on the globe in art history.
Yeah, so much to look at. Yeah, thank you, Gary, for that.
Yeah,
and we're going to get to Skip. We're going to get to you in just a moment, but I want to take a quick moment to highlight one of our audience comments today. We have Barb with us saying, I'm going to get my pencil crayons right now and create the energies of being offered here. And Barb, I freaking love that. Yes. Okay. So, and Barb, Barb has a lot of awesome comments. Definitely, Lisa, check that out. You know what? And let's just take a moment. If anyone's feeling called to just simply receive the information, the creativity, and the newness that is showing up for you throughout this conversation, right? Our panelists are sharing so much awesomeness through all their perspectives, their information, their insights, and you get to be in receiving mode to receive what is the gift here for you today, whether it be actual art, painting, crayons, whether it be more movement in your day, whether it be looking at your family, your bloodline, what's happened in a new way, taking back your power and choosing to see things in a different light to support your healing, or whether it be music. And I know so many of us, we already know the power of music. So Skip, I'm going to put you in the hot seat. We want to hear more about you and music and healing and all of that.
Well, the music and healing is interesting because the song, I've sent a little clip. I think that may be a piece of it you may send, but it's called "The Power to Heal," and that really is, when we talk about the power to heal, and everyone is an artist, whatever that is. It's self-empowerment, it's self-expression. And even when you go and look at it or a hug, and the feeling that comes before the hug and the relief that happens with that is a energy. And when we look at the healing, it's not just the mind and the body. It's the body, the mind, the spirit, and the soul. So it's all connected. And so one of the things that people say, oh, you're creative, you do these films and all this stuff and the war, blah, blah, blah. That's just not me. It's not me. It's me getting out of the way and becoming a tap into whatever that universe, God, energy, spirit, force is, and being like an indigenous friend of mine said, be a hollow bone. Let it flow through you. And that and share that with that spirit and soul and mind of others, and the music and the dancing. So we all can be part of a healing process. And the song that one of the ones in the clip I think was is called "The Power to Heal." And the idea is, as a healer, we can heal ourselves. we have the power to start right here, as we just heard. And we've seen it through Chemo Buddies and Tour Love. We've seen lives change. As a healer, we can heal another person. And that is a powerful thing. And that person then becomes inspired. And as a community of healers, which we're talking, great comments. This could go on as a 36-hour telethon just on this topic. It would be magnificent. But as a community of healers, we have the power to heal our community and others around us, and perhaps together the whole world. And that's where we're headed. And again, now is not looking back. The wake of the boat is behind us. It doesn't have anything to do with where we're going. It's right now. What can we do right now? Driving this boat or this creative vehicle we're in is to navigate it to the direction we want to go and be, I like the word, for me, they say, why do you do this? And what's most important? And that is the word that Gary said early on, is legacy. What is the legacy? It's not build me a statue for birds to poop on. It's what you leave in other people.
Yeah.
So
100%.
Beautiful.
Gary, did you have something you wanted to add to that?
Oh, no, that's absolutely wonderful, and it's like, does anyone want to be at the pearly gates and say, I was a professional victim for my whole life? St. Peter will say, go back and start again. You missed the point. That's my biggest fear. I'll miss the point of my whole lifetime and say, you got to reincarnate to try it again, and don't make that mistake again. So I want to get it right. I want to get it right this time. So they say, come on in. You got more to do.
That was really good. That was really good. I'm hearing a lot of empowerment in what you were saying, Skip, and even affirmations were what were coming up. You said that you are creative to our audience today, right? You are creative. And for anyone who's wanting to adopt that, you can just simply rephrase that, I am creative, and start to see yourself in that way if you hadn't before. I love that. Skip. So yes, Skip was referencing a song an award-winning song that he co-created called "The Power to Heal," and I got the title right. "The Power to Heal," right?
Yes.
Okay. So we're gonna hear a couple minutes of that. So just take this in, and we will be right back to continue our conversation.
Chance to grow, a chance to find the strength to believe I can be something more. It's a power to heal the broken heart, to stand and face the challenge of the past. It's for
Beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thanks. It's again, it's it points back to that self-empowerment for each of us, and just being present and just being in that flow with somebody else, and go with kids. I mean, being around children and that child within us starts to surface again. Remembering that first box of crayons, or go and plant a garden, or dance like we heard. I mean, my gosh. So all of that creates a healing. I mean, there's actual studies that where they had people in a university take a few minutes during lunch break and go experience art. And they could physically measure the changes. It's a salvatory cortisol test that they could take, and they could see that it actually reduced stress, and that typically would have taken hours and hours to reach otherwise, just by experiencing art. So creating it even makes it stronger. So all I can say is, find that child within you and begin to shape your own self-empowerment and self-expression.
Yes.
Thank you for that, Skip. Yes. And that was just a portion of the song for anybody who's wondering. But thank you for sharing that with us. I want to know, panelists.
Nope. Kim froze.
Oh, she froze. I want to know, panelists. We're waiting. Oh my gosh. Oh, is she back?
She'll be back. She'll be back.
She'll be back.
What does she get? What do you think she wants to know here? I'm guessing she wants to know, what can we do moving forward? Huh? Back? Oh, she's gone.
She got knocked off, and I mentioned I had a poem from one of my books, so let me read that while is she there? Oops. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to use the excuse that the creativity energy is powerful.
There you go.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you for that, Gary. I know we are going to get to your poem. I want to quickly ask everyone, what have you learned about yourself as you have incorporated creativity in your own healing journey, and whatever else has come out of that? What have you learned about yourself?
Okay, I'll go first. I've learned I have so much more fun when I can let go of my expectations.
Yeah.
So when I'm trying to paint something and I'm all like rigid and I want it to look a certain way, it kind of sucks. It's not that much fun. When I can allow myself to make ugly art, or art that I don't know where it's going, and it looks totally different than what I had imagined, it's way more fun. And then speaking into, I think, something that everybody has mentioned today, the art is alive in itself.
Yeah.
We're sort of its hands and feet, bringing it to life, right? Bringing this newness, allowing it to come through us. And that's just so much more fun. And so I care a lot about fun. That's one thing that I really have learned through art.
Thank you for sharing that, Karen. I love that. Who else has something they'd like to share about what they've learned?
I will.
Lisa.
I'm a control freak from way back. Okay, so even my art, I try to control that, and then I realized, well, that wasn't happening. For myself, and this goes for everybody also, is that when we let go and we stay in flow, like everybody had said, getting into flow, letting spirit, that's how we do abstract art. We don't, if you try to force it, it doesn't happen. But when you allow flow to happen and it comes out on the canvas, and then people are touched, like Skip was talking, people are really touched by what you did, but it's not what you did, it's what came through you that's on the canvas that is impacting them. When I learned to, and I'm not saying this is a perfect process because I struggle with this at times anyway, but when you connect to source, you allow flow to come through and you allow yourself to be in that space, it raises your vibrations. It expands everything. Like I said earlier, possibilities come into play, opportunities come into play, literally, because it's such a powerful force that it elevates your life in every way. You'll see your business, your love life, your everything about your life will open and expand, and your health will improve. That's what's also, I think, been part of my healing journey as far as my health. When I do that, I'm literally having an experience of being one with source, and that's the power. That's the power that's in all of us, but we have to actually access it and receive it, like Karen said.
And I want to, so what I'm hearing through all of what what all of you are saying is there's a degree of openness that shows up, and I also want to say is required to allow that energy to flow through us that contributes to the healing, right? If we look at some aspect of ourselves that might be unhealed, there's something blocked, something stuck, right? And this creativity kind of opens that space up.
Yes.
Yeah. Lisa, I know you have your art right behind you. I love bright colors and the creativity and flow. Yeah, show us.
Well, I can do, real art, whatever that is, but I've been called by Spirit to do really high vibe, fun, sunny, bright colored stuff that people love. People even buy these for their kids. And when I'm doing it, I'm in love, right? And then when people see it, they're in love. So, that's just what I'm called to do right now. And I'm following my guidance. So, that's the way you do it. You follow what you're told to do and it all works out.
Awesome. Thank you for following your guidance and shining that light for everyone. If anybody else want to speak to whatever? Yeah, Gary, tell us.
Yeah, well, Lisa, you inspire me. I can only hope I get as good as you. I just bought epoxy. I want to about it. But anyway, what I'm finding is I get an image in my mind, what I want to create. And then it's like, even if I'm not painting it, I find it self-organizing from another dimension. Say, well, you thought it was going to be this color, but no, it's got to be this color. So I find it's creating from an invisible dimension. I mean, no different than constellations. I get an idea of what needs to be healed. Oh, it's grief, blah, blah, blah. And then I go down that track. Same thing with the art. It's saying, okay, this is the image I came up with, Gary's ego or physical being. Then the idea starts to evolve before I even touch a paintbrush. And then if I start painting or drawing with pencil, whatever, I said, well, I was going to go right. I'm being ordered to go left. And I just trust the guidance, and I thought, I could do 1,000 color combinations, but the right colors come to me that almost want to be expressed the way I want to be. The great thing about art, if it turns out horrible, we say it's abstract. So we have out no what we do.
I love it. So, oh my gosh, so everything you said, okay. For anybody out there who recognizes you're on a healing journey, and maybe you're thinking, yes, I want to dive into this creativity, and maybe there's some component of you thinking, I need to figure it out. What am I going to do? How am I going to do it? What I'm getting from what Gary just said is just get a paintbrush, a canvas, piece of paper, crayons, whatever, and you open up and tune into it. You don't have to have it figured out ahead of time.
Yeah. It self-organizes. The thing I'm noticing as I get older, things self-organize, and let it self-organize. We can have the idea, but it's evolving before we even get to project it onto a canvas or a healing session or our own life, and go with it. That's going with the flow, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lisa.
Sorry to interrupt. I was going to say, Gary, that's how I paint. Like if I try to force it, I have to paint over and over and over, and then to the point where I don't want to paint anymore. But when you don't force it, like you said, the ideas. And the other thing I want to share with you guys too, and this goes for music, for anything, Skip, for your sessions.
Yeah.
It's funny. I realized that when I started painting things at first, I thought I was just painting. And then I realized that there were people coming in who had seen, like I had one woman from Canada come in and she had said that she had, some kind of a spiritual download from, last month, and it was in her journal. And one of the pieces that I created, she opened her journal up and showed me, I'm getting goosebumps. What she had painted was what she had journaled a month previous is what I had painted. And so that's so powerful in everything we're doing. Karen, Skip, Gary, it's like everything we're doing. I don't want to say that it's like predestined, but something's happening where you're expressing almost like Skip, for you're talking about the planet, what other people are coming in, you're putting it down. And it's just so powerful. Sorry, I'm goosebumping all over the place.
That was excellent. I mean, that's how we also co-create with each other, right? Exactly. One person has a calling out for something, another person receives it. The two come together. Powerful. Okay. So Karen shared with us some tips. We're going to hear a little bit more about some healing tips from Karen, and we're going to come back to the show. One moment.
Yeah. Okay, I've got one quick tip to help ignite your sense of creativity and also your sense of inspiration and life. which is to play with your perspective. So for example, take a leaf or a flower and zoom in really, really, really close. Notice different textures, different colors and shapes that you might not usually pay attention to. Or if there's something that you're used to being really focused in on, zoom out, see the whole picture. You know, if you go to a museum, maybe looking at every piece of art by itself is overwhelming. But if you sort of take in the whole room, you can get an appreciation for what you're looking at. And the more we can practice this with creativity, this play of shifting perspective, the more we can do that in life, which can help us be more agile.
Love that. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Karen. Would you like to elaborate on that?
I don't know. Does anyone else want to elaborate first?
I love that. I'm taking art classes at Yavapai College in Prescott, and everything the teacher's teaching us is I want to teach you the art of seeing. We think we see an image, but when we look at it, we see, like what Karen was saying, all the different dimensions of the close-up dimension or the far-away dimension. And I swear, I drive in the car and I say, oh, there's a picture. I'm going 70 miles an hour. I can't take it. But my memory remembers that image. And I think it's like seeing in different dimensions, not just the flat dimension, but the multi-dimensions, which really we're all tapped into being creatives.
Yeah. Well, it's also a nice way to ease into one's creativity. If someone is still thinking of them, if that's a new concept. Skip, I'm going to hop over to you. You had something to share.
Well, I mean, we're hearing it over and over again. And I said it and Karen, everybody has talked about this flow of being in flow state. There is actually a flow state that is scientific versus control, or we heard force. And, and we talked about getting out of the way and allow that flow to happen, because when we get into the ego part, or I got to get this done by a certain time, or I have a deadline, which usually enhances, I better back out because I can't physically myself do this. And so by getting into that flow, like Bruce Lee said, be like water, it's like, water it doesn't say, oh my God, I got to get straight line down to the bottom of the mountain. No, it flows around rocks and trees and brooks and over waterfalls. And nature, I mean, you look at right now, well, I've got to get I'm hungry. I got to plant a garden, it's got to happen in 2 weeks. No, look at nature. Look at the close things of that flower. It didn't just all of a sudden appear because I said, I need this tomorrow. It's in perfect divine flow. And what Gary was saying was so beautiful about seeing something. And I'd like to take it, because what happens when you actually see it, you feel it in your heart, and that goes into that body, mind, spirit. So what happens is, to me, is you experience it. And the last thing I want to say on this is, when music or anything, I listen to great, like I want to be like James Taylor or this person or that person. And I'll listen to interviews like, oh my God, you've written all these incredible songs. And people would ask, how did you write those? And they go, James Taylor said it, I didn't write those. Right. He goes, it was already written, and I just tapped into it and heard it and downloaded it and started playing it. Honestly, that's when it happens for me, because if I get in the way, I screw it up. I go, take a deep breath and allow it to flow.
I love that.
Flaming. That's a good visual description, man. I get on fire about it.
That's great.
Thank you for that.
One quick thing to add. Keith Richard of the Rolling Stone, he says, I've never written any of the Rolling Stones hit. The songs found me.
Right.
And he said, I keep a tape recorder by my bed and like da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. He said he woke up, he did da-da-da in the tape recorder. Then when he woke up for the rest of the day, he put his guitar around, they would start me up. And it comes from that other dimension. The dream state actually is our creative dimension. When we're supposedly unconscious, we're really more conscious in our dream state, so things can flow into us. And the irony of everything we're talking about, talk about flow, paint from a paintbrush. It's flowing.
On a blank canvas, yes.
Well, we are recording this episode on Easter. And to me, so much of what our conversation is about is basically having a rebirth type of experience.
Yes.
And I'm just going to share a quick little clip in recognition of Easter. And then Gary has something extra for us to hear.
Great.
So we'll be right back. Love that video. Thank you to Barbara Beckley for that. And Gary, you said you have a poem.
Yeah, I have two, but I think the resurrect would be good for Easter. You ready? It's from my book called Gems of Inspiration. I wrote it a while ago, but the poems are really, I put my heart and soul in everything I do, as people know. So you ready?
We're down to just a few minutes left.
It won't take that long.
Okay.
Fast talker. You ready? It's called Resurrect. Resurrect your spirit while inhabiting your flesh. Resurrect the love in your heart, and that's what's best. Resurrect your inner compassion that sees all humans as your friend. Resurrect your understanding at the depth of your soul that we are all really one. Resurrect inner peace that comes from knowing and living these truths. Resurrect your outer peace through universal oneness of all creation. Resurrect the belief everlasting life is yours regardless of your earthly deeds. Resurrect love, spirit, heart, soul, compassion, and know that you've always been one with all that has ever existed. Remember, to resurrect these things in life is what truly matters. L'chaim.
L'chaim.
Thank you for that, Gary. That was wonderful. I hear that ding,
Yeah.
Confirmation.
Yeah.
Okay, we are nearing the end of today's conversation. I want to quickly say hello, not hello. We already said hello, but I wanted to say thank you to all of our audience members who have been chiming in, sharing all of your thoughts throughout the show. We so appreciate you and how you expand this conversation even further. So thank you for that. And let's do, I think we can do like 30 seconds each for final thoughts on today's conversation. I think I will go ahead and, Gary, we're going to start with you since you right there.
Great. Do not judge yourself. Be kind to yourself. Don't judge yourself, no matter. How about this for a parting thought from me? You can do no wrong. End of story.
Thank you for that. Beautiful, beautiful. And Lisa, I'm going to hop on over to you next.
I would say that we are all creative at our core. The birthing process is creation. Everything has been created. So just remember, like Gary said, don't judge yourself, because your beliefs, your experiences, and even worrying about what other people think of you might be something that's holding you back. So just question what you believe and kind of start that experience, that process, and dabble a little bit. And nobody has to see what you're doing. Just, it's a very personal process that you can do while you're alone. And you can do it. You're creative.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you for that, Lisa. Skip, how about you?
Yeah, Gary said it. We've heard it over and over again, and I want you to go back to that word resurrect, because this goes back to the child. Resurrect goes back to something you already have that you've lost or is died, or what we're bringing it back. And new beginnings is Easter. That's today. This is a self-empowering resurrection of your own creative power in body, mind, spirit, and soul. And once you start doing it, and more and sharing it, it becomes, we talk about pandemic. It is like the next wave of consciousness that is going to shift this whole world. And so we've got some great people in this circle, and this was a great show. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
So
absolutely. And Karen was the one who, she helped inspire today's episode. So Karen, thank you for that. And thank you for being here. And what are your final thoughts on this?
Yeah, well, and also just to say, Kim, that's the beauty of the co-creation, right? This and it just works. So that's so beautiful. Thank you so much. My wish for us all is that we play. I wish that we all play every day with whatever is around us, with the water in the shower or the foam on the cappuccino or the rocks that we're looking at. Just play, whatever it is. Follow your joy, play. And if you feel like you don't know how to do that, like Skip has mentioned in this show as well, go experience art. Start with that. Look at art, listen to art, watch people dancing, and just start to get interested, and that'll spark something. Trust that will spark you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Karen, for those out of the box ideas of ways for people to play. Once again, thank you to all of our panelists. You guys all added so much value and light and color and flow. And I'm going to add one more word that I don't recall if anybody said, but just a reminder to everyone out there today, you have permission to explore, to shift your identity, to be who you are, to be more creative, be creative in new ways. You have permission. I pray that you will love yourself forward. Have an amazing day, everybody. We will see you all again very soon.
Thanks.
I want to say thank you for joining us today and welcome you back next Sunday as we once again are joined by a panel of subject matter experts that will explore and focus in on our fabulous lives. Until next Sunday.